getting into the top showdown plays for the Super Bowl. Let's go. All right, guys, first and foremost, thanks for another incredible NFL DFS season. It started off great with the preseason coverage and really had a strong 7 first weeks of the season, and throughout the whole season, very solid. And I appreciate all the support. We were able to grow a lot this NFL DFS season, so thank you for that. With that, I also do kind of just want to recap, and it's just kind of fun to do this, recap some of the captain's picks we have been on over the years for the Super Bowl. Okay, so looking at the Rams, that's the first one. Van Jefferson. Okay, we missed last year because Van Jefferson dropped that touchdown. Then again, with the Bucks, it was Gronk. Okay, with the San Francisco 49ers, it was Kyle Juszczyk. Okay, so pretty awesome there. For this game against New England and the Rams, I believe it was Julian Edelman. I don't remember that one specifically. I know for this one against Philly, it was Corey Clement was the top one. And then with New England against Atlanta, it was a little bit different because they didn't have the showdown stuff out yet, but it was James White was the top value-based play we were trying to be on. And so that's my long way of saying that for some reason, finding the lowest price value price point plays to be on for the Super Bowl and establishing which players we should be on has been easy to do. Now, I'm not saying we're going to do that this year, and honestly, probably ran a little bit too hot doing that the previous season, but maybe we do hit that. Okay, so let's just talk about my favorite Super Bowl captain pick. So I think the first one, just given the price tag, would be Dallas Goedert. Okay, this is a game in which the Eagles might be forced to throw the football a little bit more than they've really had to the past 3 games, or really for quite a while. Okay, so looking at the past 3 games, they've had to throw it minimal times. Okay, they blew out the teams. The weakness for the Kansas City Chiefs defense is very clearly going to be in the passing game. Okay, now can the Eagles rush the football effectively? Sure, they can. But looking at Dallas Goedert, in those 2 games or 3 games in which they didn't have to throw the football that much, he had 6, 5, and 7 targets, 5 receptions in all of them, averaged over 10 DK points in all those games. If they have to throw the football a little bit more, I think there's a good chance that Dallas Goedert goes off and has a really strong game. So to me, he's going to be one of the best price point captain plays for this slate. Now, a lot of people are going to be attracted to go to A.J. Brown and also Devonta Smith. Now, I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm saying that I want to try to kind of be unique in the sense that I want to find a strong value price point play captain that isn't going to be as chalky in the captain spot as some of these other guys that some people might be on. So that's why I think Dallas Goedert is a strong starting point. Now, I'm not going to say that this is going to be an ideal one, but if we can be over the weight on the field for the captain spot for Kadarius Toney, I don't hate that, okay? The issue with him is we know he's only going to play about 30% of the snaps, if that. He's a walking injury risk, but when he has the football, he is extremely dynamic. He is their second best, third best playmaker. Mahomes, Kelsey, him. Okay, so I just don't think if he is a full participant and healthy and ready to go, I don't think there's a chance in which he is not involved in the offense. I think there's a good chance that we see him get 6 opportunities in this game and maybe he breaks a big score. Now, no one's going to want to chase that at this price tag. Okay, that's the biggest thing, is that we could potentially be getting a decent captain play at an extremely low ownership. And this is very much, I call this the George Kittle rule right now, where sure, we can play him in the flex spot, but I think if we are playing him, we're just assuming he's going to have a very strong game and go for, have his best game since he's been a Chiefs player. And I think the way you beat the Eagles defense is with a player like him, or maybe McKinnon. You get the ball into your playmaker's hands in a unique way, maybe a screen and around. I think that's going to be what they try to do. Some people are going to try to play maybe CEH. I'm staying away from that. I don't know if we got any news on if he's going to play or not just yet, and let's just check that. So I didn't see any information on this. I don't see us getting the information either. Why would they disclose the information that he's good to go, good to play? You could potentially do this. I'm not saying I don't want. I'm not saying I want to. I'm saying I really don't. I don't want to chase. Now, a player that I could see chasing is actually going to be Noah Gray, and this is going to sound terrible, guys. This is a hot take for sure. Okay, and this is a take that I got to because of my Prize Picks coverage. So be very limited if you do this. I think, and based off of Andy Reid's quotes for this Super Bowl, it kind of seems like he was teasing that they're going to have some pretty unique plays, which is kind of why I like Kadarius Toney. And so I kind of read that as maybe Noah Gray gets something stupid. Maybe he gets a rushing attempt, a tight end sneak for a touchdown. Okay. Maybe they fake a play to Travis Kelce one way and dump it back off to Noah Gray another way. I just feel like if they're going to do something unique, there's a good chance that someone like Noah Gray, who's already playing about 50% of the snaps, could actually benefit from that. It's a very high risk play. Okay. I'm not even saying we have to play him in the captain spot. It just wouldn't be shocking to me this game, which is a hot take, I know, to see him score a touchdown. And if that happens, we are definitely gaining some on the field. But the two obvious ones that everyone's going to be on are A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith. And I would say that's correct. They should be. Now, the only way we can get to Jerick McKinnon, and I don't even know if we can, is if the Eagles are playing with the lead. Then McKinnon should be on the field more because he is much more the pass catching back. So if you think the Eagles are being ahead, then I would say McKinnon would be the captain. All right, so once again, for me, I'm going to be unique here. I want to go Dallas Goedert at the captain spot because I think he's a little bit too cheap. I like the price tag, and that way we can afford to fit some of these other players into our builds. Like we could just plug and play the rest of the studs, I think. And I really wish we could get to Noah Gray, because then I'd feel so good about this build that we have out here. Okay, like I'd be very content with that build. We'd be good to go. So the issue here is that we can't get to Jalen Hurts. And we also can't get to Patrick Mahomes. Like if we could have done this, we're good. You know, like I probably would have entered a decent amount. So that's the biggest issue that we have. Okay. And I just want to make that clear. Like very close to having the ideal build that we would want. We just don't. So what are some things we could do from here? Well, you could potentially fade, I don't want to say fade Travis Kelce, but you could, and then go Sanders or Pacheco or even McKinnon. Feel okay about it. Okay. Let's try to get Noah Gray in there again, because obviously we have a lot of salary here now. So I don't want to fade either of Brown or Smith, but that is something you could do as well. Then we have a decent build here if we are favoring Travis Kelce, which I think we should be. But, you know, that's a way to get unique. I honestly expect A.J. Brown to go off. And sure, can Travis Kelce be limited? Sure, he could. And then Noah Gray is going to go off if that. But this is the biggest issue that we're seeing, is that we are just ending up short of what I think would be a very ideal build. So maybe you think Dallas Goedert won't have a good game. Then that's a way in which you could get to A.J. Brown. I'm just trying to show you guys a bunch of different ways in which we can have a strong build. Now, all you guys are saying, like, why aren't we getting on to Patrick Mahomes? I feel like it's just difficult to get to him, okay? Strong defensive matchup, okay? I feel like he needs to put up 25 points to really be huge. And he could. He's projected to get like 290 passing yards, which seemed a little high, but I think I would choose Kelce over Mahomes today. And so this is ugly. I know that. I don't want to fade Kelce and I don't want to fade Mahomes. I really don't. I do not at all. To me, on paper, this is the best build we can put together. If you don't believe in Kadarius Toney, then you could make a pivot. I think he's going to have a good game. Now, if you don't, then you could go and do this. Like, not perfect. You're hoping Zach Pasquale gets 30% of the snaps. You're hoping that it's much more of a blocking based game, which I don't think it will. So I think Quez Watkins will get more snap, but we have seen Pasquale eat into Quez Watkins snaps a little bit. I think that's just simply because he's the better pass catcher. So we are seeing kind of why it's difficult to make a very strong. And so here's kind of a unique way in which if we are fading Travis Kelce, maybe it's because it's a Noah Gray game, okay? And if we don't have Kelce, then I do think it would make sense to be on Kadarius Toney. Again, I don't love it, but this is a way in which we can get Mahomes and Hurts in there while also getting the top two Philly players most likely. I want Goddard though. So once again, that's the issue we're having. Obviously, I was just trying to show you guys a bunch of different lineup paths that can work. And I guess here's the stupid one with Noah Gray in the captain spot. That way we can get Hurts, Kelce, Mahomes, Smith. You couldn't get A.J. Brown in there unless you drop down from Goddard to Kadarius Toney and then go with A.J. Brown instead of Smith. Once again, not a perfect build. That's just an ugly build. Maybe if you're doing 20 lineups, I think that's unique enough to toss into one. Okay, like not so close to having a pretty ideal build. Okay, so my always thought process when it comes to showdowns is if we can make a pretty strong build and then make some GPP builds off of that initial build, then we're good to go. Obviously today we don't have that. The thing with today is there's going to be a lot of stupid builds out there. There's going to be a lot more casual people playing. So there is typically an edge there. So that's kind of why I want to go more with a safe approach and go with Dallas Goedert in the captain spot. All right, thanks for watching, guys. Let's have a good slate. Thanks for the great year. And as always, let's keep cashing.